أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Lesson number 198, Surah An-Naml, ayah number 45 to 59. وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا إِلَى ثَمُودَ أَخَاهُمْ صَالِحًا. And we had certainly sent to Thamud their brother Salih alayhi salam. Who are the people of Thamud? The people of Thamud are also known as Ashabul Hijr, the people of Al-Hijr. And they're known as the people of Al-Hijr because they used to live in the area of Al-Hijr. And remember that this area, Al-Hijr, is known such. Why? Because it is a very rocky terrain. It's a very rocky area. Generally in the desert, what do you find? Sand. In rainforest areas, what do you find? Trees, a lot of vegetation. But over here in the area of Al-Hijr, what do you find? A lot of rocks and extremely rocky mountains. And these people, they lived in this area, and what did they do? They built their houses, they carved out their houses into rocky mountains. And remember that the people of Thamud, they came after the people of Nuh alayhi salam and after the people of Ad. And these people were extremely skilled. They were extremely prosperous people of their time. So, to these people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent أَخَاهُمْ, their brother, Salih alayhi salam, as a messenger, as a prophet of Allah to them. Why? Because this is very common amongst people that as soon as they begin to advance in worldly terms, what happens to their religion? They begin to abandon their religion. They begin to spread a lot of mischief, a lot of corruption in the land. Because when they have a lot of power, they end up committing injustice. They want more power. And many times they attain this power how? By depriving other people of their rights. So whenever there is such corruption in the land, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He sends guidance to people. How? Before it was in the form of prophets and messengers, and now it is in the form of warners, or His warnings, the message that the Prophet ﷺ brought. So at that time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent their brother Salih alayhi salam to them. Why is he called their brother? Why is he called their brother? Because he belonged to their nation. He was one of them. He belonged to their nation. And remember that he belonged to a very noble tribe. Just as the Prophet ﷺ also was one of the people to whom he was sent to. He was also an Arab, a Nabi al-Ummi. And he did not just belong to any Arabian tribe, but he belonged to which tribe? The Quraysh, which was a very noble tribe. Similarly, Salih alayhi salam also belonged to a very noble tribe of the people of Thamud. And remember that he himself was also extremely intelligent and also very wise. Just as the Prophet ﷺ was not just someone of a very noble position just because he belonged to a noble tribe, but also because of his character, also because of his behavior, his intelligence. He was well known amongst the people. And Salih alayhi salam, his case was also the same. And what was the main message that he gave to his people? أَنِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ, that all of you should worship Allah. Meaning worship only Allah. Because perhaps these people, they began doing shirk. They definitely spread a lot of corruption. But along with that, their aqidah was also affected. So Salih alayhi salam did not just tell them to stay away from fasad, but also to only worship Allah. But then what was the reaction of the people? فَإِذَا, then suddenly, all of a sudden, as soon as he said this to them, اُعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ, immediately the reaction of the people was, whom they were, فَرِيقَانِ, two groups, يَخْتَصِمُونَ, they were quarreling with one another. Fariqan, dual of Fariq. Fariq is a group of people, a section of people, and Fariqan, two groups. So immediately the nation was divided into two groups. How? How did that happen? Some of them believed in him, and others, they rejected him. And as a result, the nation was divided into two groups of people. One of believers and the other of disbelievers. Just as it happened at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. There were those people who believed in him and those people who rejected him. But obviously when people are divided in this way, there will definitely be disputes. So يَخْتَصِمُونَ, they began quarreling with one another. يَخْتَصِمُونَ from kha, sad, mim, khasm. So they began disputing with one another with regards to what? With regards to deen, with regards to the truthfulness of Salih alayhi salam. The believers, they affirmed his truthfulness, and the disbelievers, they rejected him. So as a result, constantly there was strife, there was dispute amongst the people. And remember that amongst the people, it was mainly the leaders, it was mainly the elite who rejected Salih alayhi salam. We learn in Surah Al-A'raf, ayah 75 to 76, that قَالَ الْمَلَأُ الَّذِينَ اسْتَكْبَرُوا مِنْ قَوْمِهِ لِلَّذِينَ اسْتُضْعِفُوا لِمَنْ آمَنَ مِنْهُمْ. The eminent ones, the mala, the leaders, the elite, those people who were very arrogant, they said to those people who were weak, and especially those people who had believed in Salih alayhi salam. So the leaders, they said to who? To the weak ones, to the weak believers. They said to them, أَتَعْلَمُونَ أَنَّ صَالِحًا مُرْسَلٌ مِّن رَبِّهِ. Do you really know that Salih is actually a messenger from his Lord? So this shows a glimpse of the dispute that was amongst the people. It was with regards to the truthfulness of Salih alayhi salam. That those people who disbelieved, constantly they were arousing doubts in the hearts of those people who had believed. How do you know? Are you sure? Do you really know that he is a messenger of Allah? What evidence do you have? What proof do you have? So قالوا, they said, إِنَّا بِمَا أُرْسِلَ بِهِ مُؤْمِنُونَ. That indeed we are believers in whatever that he has been sent with. No matter what kind of doubts you want us to have, know that we believe in him. And then what was the reaction of the mala? قَالَ الَّذِينَ اسْتَكْبَرُوا إِنَّا بِالَّذِي آمَنْتُمْ بِهِ كَافِرُونَ. Those people who were arrogant, the mala, they said that we disbelieve in what you believe in. So this is just a glimpse of the conflict that was in those people. Now we see that in this surah, in Surah An-Naml so far, we have learned about, first of all, Musa alayhi salam. And then we learned about the story of Sulaiman alayhi salam, and before him slightly, Dawood alayhi salam. Dawood and Sulaiman alayhi salam, both. If you think about it, the story of the people of Thamud, typically, who is it mentioned with? The story of which people? The people of Nuh alayhi salam, and the people of Ad, right? And afterwards, the people of Lut alayhi salam are mentioned, which is also the case over here. Because this is actually the chronological order, isn't it? The people of Nuh came first, and the people of Ad, and the people of Thamud. But over here we see that the people of Musa alayhi salam are mentioned first, then we see Sulaiman alayhi salam, and then we see the people of Thamud. What's the reason behind that? What's the main theme over here? Because we see that now, the focus is not on telling us about the chronological order of these people, of the nations of the past. The theme is about something else. And what is that theme? If you look at it, the people of Musa alayhi salam, who was the leader of that time? Fir'aun. And who was he? A great tyrant, a great disbeliever, a great oppressor. Then we look at Sulaiman alayhi salam. Who was Sulaiman alayhi salam? He was also a leader. He was also a king. But what was the difference between Fir'aun and Sulaiman alayhi salam? Both had power, but the difference was in Iman. So we see that the one without Iman, what did he do? And the one with Iman, what did he do? Completely different ways. Isn't it so? And then the people of Samud are mentioned. Because the people of Samud, they are from Arabia. The people of Musa alayhi salam, where were they from? Egypt. The people of Sulaiman alayhi salam, where were they from? Palestine, and also the Queen of Saba, Yemen. And now we have a great nation of the past from where? From Arabia. So we see that the great nations of the past, those who were extremely successful in worldly terms, they are being mentioned. That look at how powerful they were, how much worldly success they had. But who was successful at the end finally? Only those with Iman. Fir'aun, his civilization finished. Sulaiman alayhi salam, he had Iman, and his nation thrived. And we see that the people of Thamud, even they were extremely successful in worldly terms, but what happened to them when they rejected? Even they suffered from a great decline and they were completely finished. So we see that a clear comparison is being laid out before us. That the one who has Iman and authority, what is his outcome? And the one who does kufr with authority, what is his outcome? It's completely different. So we see over here basically in these ayat, different nations are being compared. And the main lesson is that belief, it is a means of reformation, it is a means of success. And on the other hand, kufr is a means of corruption. That we see that Fir'aun, he had so much power, but because of his kufr, what did he do with all that power? Corruption. And the people of Thamud also, they were also very advanced, but with all of their advancement, what did they do? Corruption. But Sulaiman a.s., because of his Iman and the power that he possessed, what did he do with that power? He used it to call people to Allah. How different. Isn't it so? Sulaiman a.s. also had power, but what did he do? Instead of manipulating the people, instead of oppressing the people, what did he do? He called people to Allah. A clear difference. And you see, this surah is a Makki surah. And primarily the people of Makkah, the Quraysh, they are being made to understand that you are also possessors of great power, authority, nobility, prestige, worldly success. Now analyze yourself. What is it that you do? What is it that you do? Typically, what fear do people have? That if we have power and we turn towards religion, what's going to happen? We're going to suffer. We're going to lose everything. But we see that with the example of Sulaiman a.s., it's demonstrated that if you have Iman, you don't necessarily suffer when it comes to your dunya. And on the other hand, if you have a lot of dunya but you have kufr, then what you have of dunya, you will also lose that. So there are many lessons that can be learned if you put all of these nations together, you put them side by side and you analyze them together while comparing them. So now over here, the people of Thamud are being mentioned. What happened to them? They were very successful. Salih a.s. told them, worship Allah. But instead of believing in Him, what happened? The people, they became divided into multiple groups. Qala, he said, Salih a.s., he said to the people, Ya qawmi, O my people, lima tasta'jiluna bis-sayyi'ati. Why are you impatient for evil? Qabla al-hasanati, instead of good. Why do you want evil so bad before you want good? لَوْلَا تَسْتَغْفِرُونَ اللَّهَ. Why do you not seek forgiveness from Allah? لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. So that you may receive mercy. Why did Salih a.s. say this to the people? We see that Salih a.s., when he gave the message to the people, he also warned them of the punishment of Allah. That if you do not believe, then be warned of the great punishment. Because every messenger, he came as mubashir as well as a nadir. So he fulfilled his responsibility of being a warner as well. And when he gave the warning to the people of the punishment, what was their reaction? We learn in Surah Al-A'raf, ayah 77, that the people said, Ya Salihu tina bima ta'iduna in kunta minal mursaleen. That, O Salih, bring us what you promise us, if you should be of the messengers. So in their rejection, in their pride, in their insolence, what happened? They began demanding the punishment. They said, if you're really a messenger, bring the punishment. Let's see what happens. So over here, the response of Salih a.s. is mentioned. That when they demanded the punishment, what did he say to them? Ya qawmi lima tasta'jiluna bis-sayyi'ati qabla al-hasana. O people, why do you seek to hasten punishment instead of mercy? Why are you demanding that you should be finished? And why do you not instead ask Allah for forgiveness? You should be asking for forgiveness, not punishment. If you notice over here, the way he addresses them, Ya qawmi, O my people. It's such an affectionate way of addressing people. That my people, you are of me and I am of you. We are together. Why do you do this? Ya qawmi. Because the moment you distance yourself from those whom you are addressing, then what happens? they become hostile towards you. They cannot relate with you anymore. And we see that Musa a.s. also constantly, how did he address the people? In the same way. The Prophet ﷺ also, how did he address the people? In the same way. Now remember that this is especially when a person is calling people to the religion of Allah. Once hostility is established, like for example, the Prophet ﷺ was in Medina, it was after the Hijrah, several battles had been fought. Now at that point you cannot be affectionate towards such people. That's at a later stage. But we see that at the stage of da'wah, at the stage of calling people to Allah, you have to be extremely affectionate and gentle in the manner that you address people. So he says, Ya qawmi, lima tasta'jiluna. The word lima is actually a combination of li and ma. Li meaning for, ma what, meaning for what reason, due to what. Why is it that tasta'jiluna, you seek to hasten bis-sayyi'ati? What does the sayyi'ah refer to? The punishment that they were demanding, destruction. Qabla al-hasana, before al-hasana. And what does hasana refer to? Rahmah, the mercy of Allah. Tawbah, turning to Allah in repentance. Now, the word qabl, what does it mean? What does qabl mean? Before. So qabl is basically zarf. It gives a meaning of zarf. When something is before the other in either time or in place. When something is before the other in time or in place. So basically it is for taqaddum. Taqaddum is to precede the other. To be ahead of the other. But over here, qabl is not being used for taqaddum of time. But rather it is being used for taqaddum of martaba, of position. So it doesn't mean over here that why are you praying for sayyi'ah before praying for hasana? Meaning after you pray for hasana, then you can pray for sayyi'ah. No, that's not what the meaning is. The meaning over here is that why are you praying for sayyi'ah instead of praying for hasana? That you should be giving preference to what? Hasana. And instead you are giving preference to what? Sayyi'ah. Why are you asking for sayyi'ah instead of asking for hasana? What are you doing? لَوْلَا تَسْتَغْفِرُونَ اللَّهَ. Why do you not seek forgiveness from Allah? لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. So that you can be shown mercy. Now we see that the dua of a person, what does it reflect? His inner feelings, his inner desire, his hope, his wishes. That's what the dua of a person reflects. Isn't it so? Because typically, what does a person pray for? What does a person pray for? What he wants. At this conference, I had a session with little kids and I was trying to explain to them the concept of prayer, the concept of dua, the concept of salah. And I was just asking them that, what do you like? And the children are telling me about, they like Hot Wheel cars and they like Barbie dolls and they like chocolate and they like candy and so on and so forth. And then I said, okay, make dua. That, Ya Allah, give me. So all of them are praying, Ya Allah, give me. And they're praying for Barbie dolls and they're praying for cars and, they're praying for all of these things, toys. Why? Because a person prays for what? For that which he likes. That which he desires. So the dua of a person, it reflects what is in his heart. What kind of love he has in his heart. What are his hopes? What are his aspirations? Now these people, what are they asking for? Destruction, punishment, loss, death. Who asks for that? Someone who is out of his mind. Isn't it so? Because no person who is in the right state of mind would ever ask for destruction. Even people who don't believe in God. When you go to pray before them, what do they ask you to do? Pray for me. Isn't it? They'll never go to pray themselves, but when they see you going to pray, they will tell you, pray for me. What are they asking you to do? Pray for their destruction? No. Pray for my good. Pray for my benefit. So we see that a person who is not in the right state of his mind, only he can ask for destruction, for death, for loss, for suffering. And these people, when they were asking for punishment, they didn't really mean it. Why were they asking for punishment? Out of denial, out of rejection of the Prophet, out of mockery, that yeah, you're threatening us, go ahead and bring the punishment, let's see what happens. Now we see that the people of Makkah, they had the exact same attitude towards the Prophet ﷺ. Exact same attitude. And what was that? That they would also ask him to bring the punishment. We learn in Surah Al-Ma'arij, ayah 1 to 2, that سَأَلَ سَائِلٌ بِعَذَابٍ وَاقِعٍ لِلْكَافِرِينَ لَيْسَ لَهُ دَافِعٍ. A supplicant, he asked for a punishment that is bound to happen. سَأَلَ سَائِلٌ. Sa'il, a supplicant, the one who is asking, if he asked for anything, what did he ask for? عَذَابٍ وَاقِعٍ. He asked for adhab. لِلْكَافِرِينَ لَيْسَ لَهُ دَافِعٍ. To the disbelievers of it, there is no preventer. In Surah Al-Ra'd, ayah number 6 also we learn, وَيَسْتَعْجِلُونَكَ بِالسَّيِّئَةِ قَبْلَ الْحَسَنَةِ وَقَدْ خَلَتْ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمُ الْمَثُلَاتِ. They impatiently urge you to bring about evil before good, while there has already occurred before them similar punishments. But have they taken a lesson? Not at all. So we see that these people also, they were demanding punishment. Why? Just in order to make fun of the messenger. But in reality, what is a person doing? He is harming himself. He is making a fool of himself. But look at how the messenger of Allah responds to them. لَوْلَا تَسْتَغْفِرُونَ اللَّهَ. Why do you not seek forgiveness of Allah? Look at the hope that He gives them over here as well. You should be praying for forgiveness. And if you pray for forgiveness, لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ, you will be shown mercy by Allah. قَالُوا, they said. What was the reaction of the people? When Salih a.s. warned them, they said, اِطَّيَّرْنَا بِكَ وَبِمَن مَّعَكَ. We consider you a bad omen, you and those who are with you. You and those people who have believed in you, we consider all of you as who? As what? As a bad omen. Now who said this? Which fariq said this? The fariq of the disbelievers, those who rejected him. And primarily it was of who? The elite, the mala'. So they said, the elite, the educated ones, the so-called intellectuals of the society, they said, اِطَّيَّرْنَا بِكَ وَبِمَن مَّعَكَ. اِطَّيَّرَ is from the root letters. طَيَّرَ, طَيْر. What does طَيْر mean? Bird. And طِيَرَ is to consider something, consider an event, as a sign of good luck or bad luck. To consider something or an event, a person, as a sign of good luck or bad luck. But why is it derived from the word طَيْر? Why is it derived from the word طَيْر in particular? What did the Arabs do? That whenever the Arabs wanted to figure something out, that if I do this action, is it going to be a source of good luck for me or bad luck for me? Like we do istikhara. That we are confused, what do we do? So we make dua to Allah, we leave it to Allah. Oh Allah, whatever is easy, just make it happen. Make it easy for me. And remember that in istikhara, it's not necessary that you have a dream. Okay? So the Arabs, what would they do whenever they were confused about a matter? They would make a bird fly. They would catch a bird and they would make it fly. Now, if the bird flew to the right, it meant if I do this, it's going to bring good luck to me. And if the bird flew to the left, what did that mean? If I do this action, it's going to be a source of bad luck for me, so don't do it. So this is primarily طيرة. But then طيرة was not just derived from the flying of the birds, but also from certain people, that if they are present, we will have evil. Like for example, people say that if at a wedding there is a widow, or there is a divorcee, what's going to happen? This wedding is not going to work out. So don't call any such people to the wedding. Or they say that if there's a dark person with a pregnant woman, then that pregnant woman is going to have a child who is very dark in color. People have such assumptions, these suppositions. Honestly, they do. And it surprises me that what kind of world do you live in? That you think that just because you are in a particular circumstance with some people, yani it's amazing. So people have such concepts, and we think that this is something so backward, but unfortunately, even today, people have such concepts. So this is what? طيرة, that a person or an event is considered to be a source of good luck or a bad luck. If this is present, then this will happen. And if this is not here, then this will happen. If this occurs, then something good is going to happen. If this does not happen, then something bad is going to happen, or so on and so forth. People have these assumptions. So they said, اِطَّيَّرْنَا بِكَ. We consider you to be a bad omen. What does it mean by that? That since you are amongst us, you are with us, since you have started preaching, we are suffering from so many things. Our circumstances have changed. Our society, it's full of conflict and strife. Family members have turned against one another. And we are deprived of rain, we are deprived of so many blessings since you have come. So we consider you to be a bad omen. Leave so that we can go back to normal. Now this is very true, that when a prophet of Allah delivers a message to the people and the people refuse to believe, then what happens? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deprives those people of blessings. Why? لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَضَرَّعُونَ. So that they humble themselves before Allah. Like for example, the people of Fir'aun, what happened to them? When they rejected, we learn in Surah Al-A'raf, ayah 130, that وَلَقَدْ أَخَذْنَا آلَ فِرْعَوْنَ بِالسِّنِينَ وَنَقْصٍ مِنَ الثَّمَرَاتِ. And we certainly seized the people of Fir'aun with years of famine and deficiency in fruit, deficiency in produce. They had less to eat. Similarly, we see that the people of Makkah also, they suffered from a famine. Now, when these people, when they suffered from this famine, from this difficulty, from some loss, who did they blame? The Messenger of Allah. That since you have started this, our life has become full of difficulties. Stop what you're doing so that we can go back to normal. So they said, قَالُوا اِطَّيَّرْنَا بِكَ وَبِمَنْ مَعَكَ. Not just you, but also those people who are with you, meaning the believers. Now the reality is that the messengers of Allah, what do they bring to the people? Knowledge, guidance, enlightenment. And in the nation, whatever wrong concepts are prevalent, whatever wrong concepts are present, the messenger comes and he highlights them. And as a result, the people, they can see the wrong. And those people who are oppressed, they're able to see and they begin to demand for their rights. Like for example, at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there were people who were slaves. And as slaves, they had absolutely no freedom, not even the freedom of religion. But when the Prophet ﷺ came, they became believers. And even if they were physically enslaved, they were internally free. Now, this change, that women, they are believing, and slaves, they are believing, this kind of change is not acceptable to who? To the leaders, to the elite. They consider this change to be a source of their downfall. Which is why you will see that even in certain villages, till today, the leaders of these villages, they do not want any schools to be present over there. They do not want that the children should gain education. They do not want that their women should go and learn something. Why? Because if they learn something, they'll get out of our control. Isn't it so? If they learn, and if they go to school, they go to university, what's going to happen? Who's going to work for us? Right now, we don't pay them even a cent. But if they get even a little bit of awareness, they're going to start demanding their rights from us. So what do they want? That the people should remain in darkness. And as a result, they can illuminate them. But when the messengers of Allah, they came, they brought with them enlightenment. And as a result, the people who were oppressed, they woke up. The people who were kept in darkness, they began to see. And as a result, the mala, they could not tolerate this anymore. They began suffering from their downfall now. So they considered the messenger to be what? A source of evil. A source of evil for them. So this is why they said, اِطَّيَّرْنَا بِكَ وَبِمَنْ مَعَكَ. That yes, you have brought evil to the society at large, but in particular to who? To us, the elite. The mushrikeen of Makkah also, they said the same thing to the Prophet ﷺ. In Surah An-Nisa, ayah number 78, we learn, وَإِن تُصِبْهُمْ حَسَنَةٌ يَقُولُوا هَذِهِ مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ. If some good reaches them, they say, this is from Allah. وَإِن تُصِبُهُمْ سَيِّئَةٌ يَقُولُوا هَذِهِ مِنْ عِنْدِكَ. And if some evil reaches them, they say, this is because of you. Since you have come, we are suffering from so many problems. We also learn in Surah Yasin, ayah number 18, that قَالُوا إِنَّا تَطَيَّرْنَا بِكُمْ لَإِن لَمْ تَنْتَهُوا لَنَرْجُمَنَّكُمْ وَلَيَمَسَّنَّكُمْ مِنَّا عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. That they said, indeed we consider you a bad omen. If you do not stop, we will surely stone you, and there will surely touch you from us a painful punishment. But what do we learn? What was the reaction of the Messenger of Allah at this point? Did he give up? Did he feel embarrassed? No. Because he knew that evil and good, both, they come from who? From Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the reaction of the Prophet was, قَالَ طَائِرُكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ. Salih alayhi salam, he said that your evil omen is from who? عِنْدَ اللَّهِ. It's with Allah. It's not because of my presence. It's not because of these teachings that I've brought. No. Whatever evil happens to you comes from who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He has determined it. He has determined it. He has allowed it to happen. He knows what is written for you, what good is written for you, what evil is written for you. It's not because of my presence. In Surah Bani Israel, ayah number 30, we learn, وَكُلُّ إِنسَانٍ أَلْزَمْنَاهُ طَائِرَهُ فِي عُنُقِهِ. And every person, we have imposed his fate upon his neck. What does it mean by that? Anything that is written for him is definitely going to happen to him. And whatever that happens to a person is a result of what? His own deeds. It's a result of his own actions. This is why the next part of the ayah is that وَنُخْرِجُ لَهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ كِتَابًا يَلْقَاهُ مَنْشُورًا. And on the day of judgment, we will produce for him a record, which he will encounter spread open. And what's in the record? His deeds. So we see that the reason why good or evil happens to a person is because, first of all, Allah has allowed it. And secondly, it's because of a person's own actions. What do we learn? If you do good, in أحسنتم أحسنتم لأنفسكم وإن أسأتم فلها. If you do good for yourselves. And if you do evil, you will suffer. So whatever actions we do in life, there are consequences we face in the dunya. No person, no event, no thing can be a source of evil or good for others. And if you feel that you are facing trouble because of the presence of some people, that whenever you deal with them, you end up in an argument. Whenever you see them, you begin to feel sad. It's not because they are some evil omen. No, the thing is that بَلْ أَنْتُمْ قَوْمٌ تُفْتَنُونَ. Rather, you are people who are being tested. You are being tried. تُفْتَنُونَ from فَتَنُونَ, fitna. That you are being tested. This is why your circumstances have changed. Yesterday they were very good. Today you're going through difficulties. Why? Because ultimately this life is what? It is a test. And if you do face some difficulty coming from some people, then realize that وَجَعَلْنَا بَعْضَكُمْ لِبَعْضٍ فِتْنَةً. That we have made some of you for others as what? As a fitna. أَتَصْبِرُونَ, will you be patient? In Surah Al-Furqan, ayah number 20. So we see that any difficulty, any suffering, any change of circumstances that a person experiences in life, in reality, what is it? It's a test. A person is being examined. That how does he react? What does he do? Does he turn to Allah? Does he humble himself? Does he realize his mistake? Can he see through himself? Or is he still deceiving himself that no, I'm perfectly right and it's the fault of other people? Because we see that when the people of Thamud, they were suffering from problems, why was it so? It was so that they would realize they should not disbelieve in their Prophet. When the people of Makkah, when they were suffering from the famine, why? So that they should realize they should not oppose Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The people of Fir'aun, when they were made to go through so many trials, why? So that they should also realize the truthfulness of Musa alayhi salam. So whenever we go through some difficulty, some problem in life, it's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to realize something. Now the believer, he benefits from these tests. He benefits from these difficulties. Because he will look at himself, he will observe his actions, and he will worry about rectifying himself, about improving himself. But on the other hand, a person who does not believe in Allah, a person who does not care about the akhirah, what is he going to think at these times? He is going to begin to blame others. It's because of him, it's because of her, and she is the reason for all the problems in my life. She should die, she should leave, he should go, and then everything will be fine. This is not the right way. This is not the correct approach. Whenever we are going through a difficulty, what should we remember? بَلْ أَنْتُمْ قَوْمٌ تُفْتَنُونَ. We are being tested. We are being tried. So we shouldn't blame others. Rather, what should we do? Look at ourselves. Look at what we need to fix. بَلْ أَنْتُمْ قَوْمٌ تُفْتَنُونَ. We see that one of the most difficult things for people to do is accept the decree of Allah. Because many times when we're going through some difficulty, what do we think? Why me? Why has this happened? And why is it like this? And then we tend to blame other people, that they are the reason for the problems in our life. But the fact is that we need to accept that this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent my way. طَائِرُكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ. Whatever has happened to you is by the decree of Allah. He has decreed it. He has decided it. And it's a result of your actions. So at that time, we should accept and we should reflect on our behavior, on our actions. And only then we can come out of those problems. We see that the believers at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they went through great difficulties as well. But what is it that made them successful? What is it that made them go through all those difficulties peacefully? وَلِرَبِّكَ فَاصْبِرْ. Because they did sabr for the sake of Allah. And when a person does sabr over difficulties for the sake of Allah, then Allah helps him. Allah assists him. Now what happened? وَكَانَ فِي الْمَدِينَةِ. And there were in the city. Which city? Where these people lived. The people of Thamud. In Al-Hijr. Now remember that these people, this nation, it wasn't just concentrated in one area. You will notice that the people who made these houses in rocky mountains, they carved out their houses in rocks. They weren't just in one place. You will find their ruins today in Jordan. You will find their ruins today in Saudi Arabia as well, in the area which is known as Madain Salih. So they were spread over several cities. It was like an entire nation that was spread over several cities. Now Salih alayhi salam, where was he in particular? In this city, in the area of Al-Hijr. And this area today is known as Madain Salih. And this is the area which the Prophet ﷺ passed by on his journey to Tabuk. Remember? That when the Prophet ﷺ was going there, they saw these ruins. There is one more city, which is known as Petra. Petra, Al-Batra. This is different from this city. However, remember that all of these people, they were the same nation. They were just divided up in several cities. Just like the people of Fir'aun. Where were they? Just in one city? No. He had many, many cities, which is why we see that Fir'aun, what did he do? He sent fil madaini hashirin. Right?